Bodin is a think tank focusing on, among other things, the future of work. And this is CEO Ann-Therese Enarsson's thoughts on the future from a learning perspective.
My assignment is to gather insights and draw future scenarios about the future work life. And right now, we're undergoing a very strong technological development. The labor market is, some say, undergoing the fourth industrial revolution. And conditions are changing very rapidly. It's hard to keep up the pace sometimes and understand the effects, and especially, I would say, the long-term effects of the changes and the innovations that are born today. But what we do know, on one hand, is that it enables business models and new companies to develop. And on the other hand, researchers predicts that about half of all the jobs have the potential to be automized within 20 years, I would say. But we do have to remember, above all this, that every job will change. Every task at your job will change. We have to keep that in mind. And at a higher rate than ever before in history. So it's a quite dramatic scene we're heading to.
So what we heard here is that everything is changing so quickly. We have to learn new things all the time. So that sort of ties nicely into what we've been talking about. How do you actually make the learning of this continuous and a natural part of what you do at work?
I would say the most important thing is to accept being a beginner. I mean, if you are going to be open to learning, you have to accept the state of being a beginner. And that obviously can start with a newly employed at a company. It has to start with the leadership. Because you can't just come to work and be afraid that somebody will expose you, that you're not perfect in every area. You need to be open about not knowing everything already. And when you're open with that, you spread the atmosphere of here we're actually open to people being on a learning curve. So then people will have progression instead of just being so stressed and nervous that they will be exposed of not knowing.
So the future of leadership is actually building a culture where people feel that it's okay to not be an expert in certain areas.
Absolutely. I would say not only just feel that it's okay, I would suggest that it's also going to be one of the parameters which you will be measured on. Your progression and not just end goal. Yeah.
Great. What do you say, Matti?
Well, on the corporate perspective, I think many companies are kind of lost today to be future fit, to go in the future because they are measuring only the completion when it comes to training and learning. They are so compliant driven, and we really need to start for companies to start measure the right things.
And what is the right thing in this context?
Well, basically the effect of the training and the results. Because if we will get some result out of the training, we have to look at behaviors and habits. And that's what we really need to change and start measuring that. Because then we could get a change in companies.
And another aspect of the brain and how the brain works, how can you actually encourage people who are not as prone to, who are not as sort of optimistic when it comes to, or positive maybe, when it comes to change? How do you make them more sort of prone to or open to change?
By realizing that that's the way of survival. Without change, you will lose the grip of what's going to be the essential part of future companies.
So it's all about wearing like a change or die t-shirt or something.
Pretty much.